DPs are often misunderstood as just people who make pretty images. But the process to achieve a great image comes with great responsibility and accountability. Here today to discuss this very topic is DP Phong Tra. Born in Vietnam and now living in Toronto, Phong has created an impressive reel of work. And he is here with us today to talk about what got him there and what it really means to be a DP. So, welcome to the Apple Box Podcast. I'm your host, Danny Lau, and I am sitting alongside my co-host, Anthony Valsinas, and across of us today, the man of the hour, Phong Tra. Let's get it. All right, welcome to the Apple Box Podcast. Today we have with us Fong. Welcome here, cinematographer here from Toronto, Canada. And you typically first they see a lot for Nick Pilecki, who was our previous guest and close friends with him.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit about you and how you got into this industry, man. Let everyone know.
Sure. Hey guys, my name is Fong. But the correct pronunciation is Fong.
Fong?
Fong, yes. It's Vietnamese, so you know, any words that ends with ng,
Yeah.
pronounced like a short M.
Oh,
Short M.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so
Okay.
Fom.
Yep. So the correct pronunciation for my name is F-O-M.
F-O-M. Okay, Fum.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay,
Am I gonna get used to? I don't know if I can get used to that, man. I'm sorry.
I like it. I like it.
I like it. I just think I'm always gonna call you Fong. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm happy either way, you know. Yeah. So was born and raised in Vietnam. I actually went to school for hotel management.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In Vietnam?
Yes, in Vietnam. I went to school for 5 years for that.
5 years.
5
Yes.
years.
For
So
hotel management.
Yes, exactly.
So when did you come to Canada then?
So I came to Canada in 2017. So so the backstory is that my parents, they used to own a restaurant business back in my hometown Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and you know, with Asian parents, they always want their kid to follow their path, right?
Of course.
But then like to be fair, like back in high school, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. You know, when I grow up, so I just gotta like my parents are in the restaurant business, and you know I might as well do something similar.
Yeah.
So I did that, but then back then at that time it was around 2012, 2013. The film scene in Vietnam and you know in my city specifically just like you know started to becoming a thing, and you know all the cool kids like they don't have cameras and you know they don't like make on these like shorts and these like skate videos on YouTube. Yeah. And YouTube was like a really big deal back then, you know, like because like there wasn't because like in Vietnam when people first start, you know, like to get access to like the internet of like the western side of the world, they start with watching YouTube videos. So you know like at that time a lot of people were like making YouTube videos, making viral videos on YouTube, making music videos. So yep, I hop onto that trend as well, but you know as like a passion, like a side thing.
Yeah.
So funnily enough, my dad when he was younger, he used to be a wedding photographer.
Oh no. Oh, okay. So kind of get a little bit in the family.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But then you know, like in Asia, especially in Vietnam, back then there wasn't really a thing for like you know people don't believe in.
Of course.
Like photography is a real career, or you know, video is a real career.
Right,
Trust me.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so in my first year in university, my dad gave me his old camera.
Nice.
And you know, like so that's how I got started into like
Nice.
in, like playing around with the DSLR, like an older Nikon, and you know, just play around with the camera.
Yeah.
But then, you know, back then I was still in school for like learning what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so I went to school for 4 years. On my 5th year, I got a job at a hotel, at a Sofitel. I don't know if you know Sofitel. They like, one of the like European like hotels chains, and in Ho Chi Minh City. And so I was working there as a receptionist.
Oh wow.
But and then like I was doing a bit of that, and I was doing a bit of like night shift as well,
Yeah.
from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Wow.
And then because I was still in school, so in the morning I would go back to school,
Yeah.
Really?
and then the gap in between I would like just like hang out with my buddies and like trying to take photos and
Wow.
do some stuff.
How did you sleep?
No sleep, man.
No sleep.
Yeah, 5 coffees a day.
Oh my god.
I'm a fiend.
You don't sleep.
Don't sleep.
That's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
so crazy.
I never had a cup of coffee in my life, so I don't know the fiend fuel. You know.
Yeah. Okay. So my I guess my epiphany started when so on my 5th year at my school there was a program or activity called iHotelier. So it's like a competition for students in the city to come and kind of like compete in hotel management like knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
And so they knew that I was doing a bit of like photo and video as well. So they
Yeah.
asked me to make a promo video for that.
Oh, okay.
And surprisingly, the hotel I was working for, they sponsored the event. So I got to shoot the promo video at the same hotel I was working at.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Wow. Okay.
So I would work there. One day I was working there, night shift from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And then in the morning I would come back with my camera and then like
And
shoot
film.
some
And be a
like film the
contractor.
promo video. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay.
But then like at that moment I was realizing, okay, like here I am at the same spot,
Yeah.
but I'm actually like liking what I'm doing right now.
Wow.
I'm not dealing with like
You liked it
bullshit,
better.
like customer service. Sorry, I'm swearing.
Yeah. That's a good swear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like not having to deal with like customer services and on that stuff. So
Yeah.
I was like, maybe this is what I want to do.
Wow.
So yep.
So that was your first like real video gig, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. And like before that, I helped my friend like do some like wedding videos, like promo videos, but like nothing
Yeah.
really fancy, because like I didn't really consider it as a real job.
Yeah.
So
More for fun, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
And how many years have you been doing this so far?
So that event occurred in I guess it was 2015, 2016, I would say.
2015, 2016. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been about 7 years now, 8 years.
Yes,
around there.
exactly.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep.
Wow. And how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm turning 28.
28. Okay.
Yeah.
20,
Okay. You
yeah.
got the Asian genes, the baby
Oh
face.
yeah, a lot of people have been telling me that. Yeah.
He looks like he's
Yeah.
younger than Anthony. You know?
It's funny. So I've been working with this guy in Toronto for like 2 years now, but like he's never asked for my age. And the other day he was like, "Hey man, just curious, like how old are you?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, I'm turning 28, man." He's like, "Oh shit, man! Oh my god, you're like 22 or something."
That's crazy.
Thanks, I guess.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's better than the opposite. You don't want to look like you're 80 when
Exactly.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. But like now you're like working on what, mainly music videos? Is that what you mainly shoot? On your
Yeah,
own?
I say music videos. Like low budget, like commercials, like
Yeah.
like web series, like the web content kind of stuff. And this year I'm starting to do more like narrative stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few directors approach me for short films, and
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Oh,
So
nice. So if you were to describe your cinematography style a little bit to us, what do you think your style is? I know you and I have talked about it one time on set, but
Yeah.
what do you share it with the rest of us? Like, what do you think your style of cinematography is?
good question. I guess whenever people ask me this question, my first answer would be, I'm still on my way to find the correct definition for my style.
Yeah.
But usually on set, I would try stuff and I would see what I like and what I don't like. And like for the past 2 years, I've been realizing that I like, something that's really out, like how to explain, like out this word, like not like
Ultra real.
yeah, ultra real.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been like experimenting with a lot of things, like I've been using a lot of like, like colorful lights and
Yeah.
and just lighting in a way that, normal people wouldn't do.
Yeah. And I noticed that because you sent me frames for a shoot that you did yesterday, a music video that you literally just shot.
Yes.
And I've noticed that like you use a lot of color contrast and that, which and you got like the greens, the reds, the yellows, and you really like to hone in on like making the color contrast really pop.
Exactly.
And different depth levels, which is what I noticed and thought that was really nice.
Thank you.
So would you say that inspires a lot of your work in terms of like how you approach a project? You're always thinking like color contrast and
exactly, because growing up in Asia, it's a very colorful continent.
Yeah.
Like especially in my city, like it's like Hong Kong or Macau. Like they never sleep over there, and when the nighttime comes, you see on these like neon street lights, and when you put a person on a street in my city, there wouldn't be just a normal like tungsten or sodium vapor color on their face. There would be like a lot of colors, like casting on,
especially
their skin.
at nighttime. Yeah.
Yes. So, I guess like my intuition would be, I've been like, like consciously and unconsciously, trying to like replicate that look and that feel just because of like it's been a thing in my head growing up. So
so when you get into narratives, you're looking more like cyberpunk, kind of like sci-fi feel for things?
Not in sense like sci-fi, but like something that you wouldn't see in a normal life.
That's very
like a heightened reality or something different.
Yeah.
And I think that works really well, especially in music videos, especially because that's like where it really sits in and fits.
I have a love-hate relationship with music videos because like I love it because like it's a chance where you can just like try whatever you want.
You can be experimental.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And it's good practice as well. So So like when I receive the treatment, even though it's something that I'm familiar with, I would contribute in a sense of, okay, that looks good, but here's something that I think we can make it look better.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that would be my opportunity to like to slot in some new technique that I haven't done before. And and it's a music video, so like the crazier you go, like I think the better.
So because the whole idea is to fit it with the vibe of the music, and especially if it's something that's poppy or something that's kind of like got a lot more BPM, you can really amp it up and do some crazy stuff. So what would you say is like your like most important role as a cinematographer on set? What do you think is because I like the fact that you mentioned how you got to service the director, and you got to serve, even if you've seen it before, your job is to sit there and service the director and find different ways to enhance the vision if you possibly can. So would you say that's your most important role, or what do you think is the most important role as a DP on set?
Good question. Let me think for a sec. Yeah.
We'll go to the commercial break for our sponsor. We don't have a sponsor yet, but if you're looking to sponsor us.
Well, I mean, like, like everyone has such a great role and everyone has such a good job. Like when I met you, I was just like, I remember first time I met you, that was Derek's short film, Derek Lambrew's short film. And I was just like, this guy never misses focus. I'm just watching you work. I'm just like, this guy never misses focus. I'm like, he's so freaking good at what he does. And he's fast.
Yeah.
And I noticed like you make Nick's job easy. But that's your job, right? And AC should make the DP's job easy.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like you're right there. You're ready to go. You're not screwing up takes. And I'm just like, man, he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I think the DP has to kind of be that for the director, right?
Exactly. I guess like I think like the main role for like any crew in like on a set would be, like to be best at a job. And to not holding anyone back. Yeah. And like talking about role DP, because a DP is a very interesting role because you're making images and you're dealing with directors, but also you got a whole ship to sail. And at the same time, you want to make good images. You wanna make the day, but at the same time you have to like care about your crew as well.
The management part.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess I had never realized that I care about my crew until a short film I did. I think it was 5 months ago. It was during winter, and it was an overnight shoot. And we I think we had 5 pages in just one day, which was like reasonable. But you know, it was overnight. It was like in the middle of the winter, and you know, like I guess like in my head I was trying to make the best images as possible, but then you know, like I was also like making sure like crew are okay, because you know we had to set up some lights outside, and you know, like we got a doorway dolly in a coffee shop.
Wow.
You know, like a lot of
So
setups.
it's a big setups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after the shoot, I went home, and then my key grip sent me a text, and she was like, "Hey, thank you for today. Thank you for being such a caring person."
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
And then you know, I feel my job is complete,
Yes.
because like
yeah.
you know, like at that point, like I was like, okay, like I don't care how the short film gonna turn out anymore.
Yeah.
If people like working with me, like
You did your job.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know, like sometimes like I have to balance between, you know, like making day, or you know, like taking care of my crew. But if I have to choose, I rather my crew you know, they feel like they're being respected, they you know, they're being like treated well.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's the only way to, you know, like to have with productions.
And that's so interesting, because we just had a guest in yesterday talk about that, Ray, you know, talk about how he treats his crew, and how he needs to take his crews his crews back anytime something happens. You know, like that's the leadership role that is in a lot of ways, it has nothing to do with how good of an image maker you are. It has everything to do with how good of a person you are.
Yep.
And that's like the balance between being a good DP when you start working in stuff that is like the stuff that you've worked on, the stuff that I've worked on with Anthony. It's like you need to start thinking, okay, it's not just me anymore. It's not just about what I want to create. It's about the fact that I have people here who are going to help me do it, so my team matters. And I have to take care of my team. And I think that's a very valuable lesson that you learn as you grow more experience in this industry.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more that they're on your side is like, if you're on their side, they'll be on your side all the way. It's like an army. It's like
Yeah.
ride or die. Like, yeah, let's push through this. We got this. You know, it's they'll get your back as much as you have their back. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's why like I have a set of crew that I really like working with. So you know, like whenever I'm booked on a new project, I always ask my producer to, you know, like to book these like specific people, because you know, I know for sure that when we're on set, whatever request I'm gonna forward them, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, because we've been on so many sets together, they know how I like my lighting, they know how I like my camera, so they're just gonna, you know, move everything faster,
Efficient. Yeah.
more
So
efficient.
talking about crew, like what is something that you look for in crew when you're looking for your crew members? Say your gaffer, your key grip, but like what kind of qualities do you look for?
Yeah. I'm a DB, so you know, like I guess the first AC is very important to me.
Yeah.
So
Is that why you're such a good first AC?
Yeah.
You lead by example?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like it's funny because, you know, every time I am first AC for Nick,
Yeah.
I would put myself in a position, okay, if I was first AC for myself,
That's how I am.
what would I do?
Yeah. If I was gaffer for myself,
Exactly.
how would I want
And
to
I
be?
could see that too. You know,
Yeah.
you're just like, you know, like considering, you know, you care about.
I care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like a good first AC should be they should be attentive. Should be
Detail oriented.
Yes, exactly. And you know, a good first AC is someone that I can just let them know the camera package I'm shooting with, and you know, like some camera setups that we're doing, and they can just make sure that we have all that ready.
Yeah.
On the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think for my key grip and my gaffer, I say someone that you know, doesn't afraid to try new things.
Okay.
I guess it's what Nick told me, ready to just rock and roll with you
Yes.
on set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like, you know, because sometimes I know like for more experienced gaffers and key grips, you know, if during pre-production, if you give them a plan, but on set if you were saying, you know, okay, let's try something else, they might be thrown off, you know, the track, and
Because they have their way of
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So usually the gaffers that I like working with are the ones that, you know, like just say, yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not afraid to. Yeah, they're not afraid to try new things and because they treat the shoot and the projects as like their own babies. They don't treat it as the jobs.
That's right. Yeah, the veterans are kind of they have so much experience. They're like kind of just it is a job to them now, I guess.
Exactly.
So throwing them off their game and the passion that drives like a passionate gaffer is different than someone who's been like let's say in a union for 20 years. You know what I mean? And they're
exactly. Because I guess it depends on the stage that you're in. Because I guess if you're that far, it's kind of like you're coming off a shoot. You've probably been on sets for 20 days in a row before you get to you.
You're dead.
So to them, they're dead, and they're just like that's just what they do. So it's understandable.
It is.
But I think on your stage, in our career that we're sitting right now, we need passionate people. We need a passionate team because we're passionate right now.
Which is good, and I feel really grateful when like living and working in the city of Toronto. Because I feel like at least for like in the East Coast, like people tend to like help you more. And as long as you find a good group of people and not having the same goal as like improving their career and and just making good stuff. So
and you're not the first person to say that, and I think we're noticing that too. Even like us, like the spec that we're gonna do with you, right? Like everyone there is volunteering, everyone there is helping out, and
crazy,
and it's just a matter of like being a good person to people and being passionate and caring and being willing to be like, yeah, man, like if you need anything, let me know. And it's just kind of like we all help each other grow. And I think you're not the first person to say that about Toronto. And I agree with you. Like Toronto, if you're a good person, I think it'll get reciprocated as long as you offer the same thing back,
Exactly. Passion. Yeah, I'm very excited for that shoot, by the way.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be so much fun.
There's a lot going on.
It's gonna be so much fun. But second last question, because last question we always leave with was always advice for young bucks. But before we get there, I do want to get your take on directors, because I know as DPs, it's important that we find the right directors and work with the right directors that allow us to do what we want to do. So to you, what is a good director and what is a bad director?
To me, a good director would be the one that knows the limitation of the production. So
that's very true.
Yeah, that's a good director.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm on set, some actors could give a really good performance, but then some actors just cannot do it. And sometimes in terms of like lighting gear, sometimes it's easier to achieve this one lighting setup, but sometimes it's not. So I think a good directors have to think for the team and like I guess like know the limitation that we're dealing with. Because like sometimes because I feel like the Korean directors, they usually think they should be treated as like the highest up there.
Royalty.
Exactly. And like whatever they ask for, they should be received back.
It's almost like they're stubborn in what they
exactly.
want.
Exactly.
Prideful,
and I don't blame them too, because like sometimes like it's the vision and like how important the vision is to them.
Right.
But then like I guess and DBs, we're kind of like the bridge between the directors and the crew. And we have to like communicate and we have to like deliver the message I guess like efficiently and correctly between like
it's
two
kind
sides.
of just kind of I guess mediate what they want versus what the vision is. And a good DP can kind of differentiate options to best serve what they want.
Even like with us going into the spec, we're already talking about like, okay, if we can't get this is what we'll do. Like, and I'm so aware of crew and I've been freelancing for like 6 years. I know like what it takes on like a 12-hour day. And like, if we need to compromise a little bit, there's room for that. I'm not going to kill the entire team in the production for like, I want to get this shot and we just can't get it. Or this performance isn't the perfect performance. Like, we have to be realistic with what can be achieved,
Which is why I think Anthony's like a great director. And I told him that. And because I think a big part of him, he's been through it. Like he's shot these things. And not only has he shot with me a lot, but he's been through a lot of shitty shoots with some really bad directors and he's spent overtime doing it. So he's kind of inherently studied it, how it works. And so like, I think when he gets on set, because this is, I don't know if you know this, but it's his directorial debut. So it's his first time directing.
All right,
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's his directorial debut, and for like a big
More
part.
reason to get excited about it.
Exactly, and which
Yeah,
is why I was
that's
like, for me, I was just like, you know what, like when I heard, when we decided we're gonna do this, I was like, I'm gonna try to find the best possible people that I can, who I think would help volunteer and help out in this, right? And I was like, Fong is one of the best ACs I've ever seen. I'm just gonna take a shot. I was just like, literally, I'm just gonna message him and I'm gonna take a shot in the wild.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
Hopefully he likes me enough that
Yeah.
he was gonna say yes.
Well, fun fact, I think you are the second DP that I've ever first AC for.
No, really.
Really? Besides
What?
Nick?
Besides Nick?
Wow, that's crazy. What an honor.
That's crazy. When
Yeah.
you see this guy work, I'm telling you, it's like butter. Like you don't even notice him working. Everything just works.
Yeah.
And that's just like, to me, the most impressive
That's
thing I've
invaluable.
seen.
Yeah, I love working with Nick because I've been working together with him for a while now, so
Yeah.
I kind of like know, for example, if he's on the dolly, how much of the track that he's gonna go for to get that shot, and if he's on easy rig, how much of the movement that he's
You
gonna
understand his flow.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like sometimes like whenever like when the director asks us to like quickly switch to dolly,
Yeah.
and then Nick turns to me, he asked me like, "Do you want to set mark?" I say, "No, let's do it."
Nice.
Literally, he
Yeah.
just flows with it. It's
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
You're almost intuitive with it now. Like you know
Yeah.
exactly the rhythm of him.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guess because and I think because like he's just like such a fun person to work with, right?
Yeah.
So like,
he is. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, okay, so let's go into the final question I want to get into, and that is just your overall advice for anybody who wants to get into this industry.
My advice would be, don't be afraid of slow times, and don't be afraid when you're starting out and no one's hiring you, because the first 1 or 2 years of your career is gonna be really tough.
It always is, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you could pull through those 2 years, financially and mentally, then you're gonna be great.
Yeah.
As long as you keep your fire, as long as you keep your passion,
Yeah.
you're gonna be great.
Or make it, yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Griff said something very similar.
Yeah.
on his-
Oh, yeah?
on his episode.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, you'll be fine. It's pretty much what his advice was. Like, just keep going. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't be too hard on yourself. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
quite literally, in this industry, it's literally like you get one shit gig and you think you're the worst, and then next year you're doing a gig you never thought you'd be part of, and you're like, holy crap! Like, what a
Yeah.
growth! And it's all because you kept on going. You didn't stop
Yeah.
when you went through that terrible experience.
You're saying the hardest thing is the beginning. You're saying once you break in and you get that momentum, you
Yeah.
can kind of ride that.
And that's
Yeah.
true. No, it's very true. I think that is very sound advice
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people who, like, when they think about, like, I want to be, I don't know, a videographer, let's say, right? A lot of people start off as videographers. I want to be a videographer. They're like, yeah, I really want to do it. Then you tell them, like, okay, so you need this, this, and this, and this, and get ready for this, and be ready for these kind of days. And there's like, oh. And then maybe they do it once, and they're like, that's too much.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what you got to do.
You almost don't even
know?
have, like, I don't know. Like, when I was coming up, no one even told me. It's like I just wanted to do it. Like whatever.
Yeah,
it
same
was,
here.
you know?
We figured it out by stepping in the fire ourselves.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't even like. I guess you didn't even think about the fear of like, oh, it's gonna be crazy. It's just this is what I want to do. I'm gonna, like, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like I'm forcing something. I don't want to be there. It's like this is just I'll do this forever. You know.
Yeah.
That was the mentality, at least when I was first starting. So
Yeah. And it's just like so easy to give up because like this industry, you have to invest a lot of money in it.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah. And
crazy.
like if you're sitting with that much worth of gear for 1 or 2 weeks without doing nothing.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yep. And then it's just so easy for you to give up.
And that scares a lot of people here. That like,
Exactly.
I have no
You're right.
work for like a month. It's like,
Oh yeah.
it's tough, but it's what you got to do. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and diversify your income a little bit too. You should
Yeah, of
Yes,
course.
exactly.
You got to be smart. Like, like
Yeah.
I took on so many shitty gigs, so many in my career that like, even some of them are like $100. Here's another one for like 500. I'm not even sure if that person's going to pay me, but I'll take my chances. Like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, you know?
And like I feel like usually you learn from those as well.
Big
Just
time.
like
yeah.
it could be just like the way of dealing with clients or you learn something new on set
Exactly.
every day.
Exactly. Like I know so many times I could go on, but like the amount of money that I'm owed is enough to pay someone's yearly salary at a good salary. That's how much money I'm never going to see again. You know, I've been ripped off many, many, many times. And there's every single time could have been a good excuse and reason for me to stop and be like, this is not worth it. You know, like one of them was really bad. Like I got into like a really bad debt and I was like, okay, I do this job. It pays off that debt. Did that job, didn't get paid for it. You know, and it's so much excuses to sit back and be like, oh, this is miserable, but kept on going. You know, that's why it's like what you said at the end of your advice there. As long as you keep your passion, right? You keep your passion. Your passion will drive you through and keep you motivated throughout the whole time.
Yep.
But yeah.
Boom.
Thanks, Fong. Appreciate
it.
you, man.
No, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. That's it.
That's a wrap.
Cut. That's a wrap.